You are everything you need, but you are the only thing in the way. How many times have we heard this voice in our head? It tells us, I can't, I shouldn't, I'm not enough. What if I fail? It's phrases like these that create subconscious boundaries, shielding ourselves from negative emotions, but limiting our potential. Where does this voice come from, and where does it take us? It starts when you find something new but uncertain. It could be a job, an internship, a relationship. You're excited and you're ready to take it on. And then you start to think of the future. The interview, the applications, meetings, the scheduling. This is when that voice pops into your mind. But this time, it digs deeper into your insecurities. It starts to tell you things like, other people are better than me, that I'm not worthy, qualified, fit enough for this. We are constantly comparing ourselves to people we interact with every day. According to the social comparison theory by American sociologist Leon Festinger, we determine our social and personal worth based on how we stack up against others. We focus on attractiveness, intelligence, wealth, and success. We categorize and label each other to figure out who we are, where we stand, and how to interact. I compare myself to my classmates, the ones who always seem to know the answer and raise their hand in class, or all the people that I see as I scroll through my social media feeds. The voice in our head is rooted in this social comparison and latches onto our insecurities. And as the voice digs deeper and the social comparison continues, we create limits, trying to define who we are and what we're comfortable with. This is what we're going to call a wall. And every rationalized reason you give yourself not to do something is another brick on that wall. Rationalize reason after reason, brick after brick. These walls are constructed by you and only you, but supplied by the company that you keep. And before you even know it, you have just created a self-made comfort zone, bounded by the walls that you have built. And as the process continues, they grow thicker and higher, becoming increasingly more difficult to break down. We do this because our minds go into survival of the fittest mode. It tells us that we have to compete for scarce resources, and that others are a threat to our existence. This instinct is beneficial in keeping us safe and out of danger, but becomes detrimental when our minds begin to tell us that our lives are threatened by a more qualified classmate or colleague. We do this when we are feeling uncomfortable and unprotected. We want to avoid feeling negative emotions like guilt, shame, pain, disappointment, and fear, so we manage to give ourselves every reason not to feel them. Think of the consequences of continuing to shield yourself like this. You will soon find yourself suffocated and overpowered by the walls that you have built, no longer able to grow within the confines of your self-made comfort zone. Your walls will soon limit your opportunities, your movement, and future. Leon Festinger says it himself, these inaccurate appraisals of your abilities can be detrimental and even fatal. Remember, you owe it to yourself to accept and grow towards your full potential, reclaiming your power. Thinking on a larger scale, you owe it to your community. What if we all stayed within the confines of our self-made comfort zone, never testing those boundaries? There would be no progress towards positive change. It is important and healthy to continually test your boundaries, expand your comfort zone, and break down your walls. Now, this is a daunting task, especially since these walls have been built over years and even a lifetime. And it's not going to be a quick and easy fix, but what helped me was breaking it down into 3 more manageable steps. Notice, defy, and go for it. When you notice, you are aware of who and what triggers you to become defensive and prepare to build your walls. You will understand where that voice in social comparison comes from, but most importantly, you have to understand why. Next, you will defy. People will always supply you with the materials to build your walls, but you are the only person to decide not to build them. Talk back to that voice in your head. It may seem unnatural and uncomfortable at first, but know that you have the power within yourself to be able to persist. And decide not to act on how you are feeling and what you are telling yourself. And finally, go for it. You've just created a path free of boundaries and walls. This is your time to do what you told yourself you couldn't, and to be who you thought you weren't, reclaiming your power and potential. I recently completed these 3 steps in developing this talk. There are so many points along the way where I could have given into that voice in my head and all of the rationalized reasons to back out. This application could have joined all of the other half-completed and even completed applications sitting in my documents, never to be submitted, because I continually convinced myself I was not good enough. I wasn't worth it, that other people deserved it more than I did. I noticed and began to tell myself that this was for people who had actually done things with their lives, the PhDs and the child geniuses of the world, and that was just not me. I even began to anticipate the anxiety I would feel standing on this red circle with nowhere to hide from my mistakes. I dug deeper, and I realized this was rooted in a long-held insecurity with my intelligence and fear of failure and disappointment. I defied. I decided not to act on how I was feeling and what I was telling myself. I talked back to that voice in my head. I told it that I was enough, that I could do this, that I have all of the power within myself to be able to do it. And finally, I went for it. And here I stand, determined to break down my walls and step out of my comfort zone. Because without boundaries, I am limitless. When you are no longer the only thing in the way, what's stopping you? Thank you.